that's fine. If I say anything risque, and please, will you edit it later?
Yes.
We like cut this out before we post it to Facebook. And
I'll just send it to you.
Okay, that'd be lovely. No, I mean, I don't mind it, so it's fine. I just want to, if I say the F word way too many times. So, about me. So I've played sports my entire life: basketball, swimming, softball, track. I lettered in high school. I started fencing 19 years ago. Yeah, I changed that. 5-time Kingdom champion. Twice in the West, 3 times in Aethelmearc. I have won the Illadore rapier tournament at Penzic. I've come in second a couple of times at golf wars. I've won, I can't tell you the number of champs fights that I've had. So, and the reason why I'm telling you all of this is just to let you all know kind of who I am. I'm trying not to be like a braggart, right? But I want to tell you, like, here's my experience, and this is why you should kind of listen to me. And I've also, and while I'm a rapier fighter, I'm also a heavy fighter. I have been a heavy fighter in the past. And as Duke Paul Bellatrix, who was teaching me when I was out in the West, said, fighting is fighting, right? So fighting is fighting, and your mental aspects that you have for that are the same. So this class is primarily discussing sports psychology techniques. This class is not a period fighting technique class. It is not an Asian martial art technique class, right? So we're not going to learn about the sword of no sword and those kinds of things here. And where I got my information is from my coaches. Remember, I've been playing since I was sports of some sort since I was 8 years old. Through sports psychology journals, like I've gone back. So my coaches taught me all this stuff, and then I went, I wonder if there's science about it. And guess what? There's science about it. And then psychologists I've also spoken to about this. And last but not least, and the least reliable, is my own experience and other SCA people's experiences. So, and the one thing I also want to talk about, the last time I taught this class, I got told that the only bad thing that I did was that I mentioned therapy 6 times. So we're going to mention it 7. Therapy, 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 therapy. So here's why I mention it. When I went for therapy because of my anxiety and also for grief, I went twice. My fencing got better. And there's reasons for that. A lot of the stuff I'm going to talk to you about now are cognitive behavioral therapy, though I think it has another acronym. It used to be CBT, now it's a different term. But these are techniques that my psychologist taught me, and when I started using them, my fencing got better. Shocker, when your anxiety goes down, you become a better fencer. Shocker, and a better fighter. So this is a 4-part class. First one is called, well, 4 parts in how to get a good tournament run are this. 1, know yourself. 2, know your opponent. 3, find your center. And this we're talking about the arousal state. So when I talk about this, there's like all kinds of charts that I talk about, but I'm also a cook. And the way I like to talk about your arousal state is like cooking and salt. So there is, when you're cooking and you're making a thing and it does not have enough salt, it's here, right? And then it's got just the right amount of salt, right? It's perfect, and then it's too salty. So just like adrenaline or your arousal state, sometimes you are too low, you're way too low, and then sometimes you're way too high, right? And you're like this. And so the majority of this class is going to be talking about that. How to manage the stress of fighting. And then the last one is my favorite part, which is never give up, never surrender, make them pay. Make them pay. So, knowing yourself. So, this means you need to have complete and utter faith in your ability. And what do I mean by that? I mean that I know where my point is going to go 99% of the time, because I've done all of the drills that I need to do for point control drills. I know exactly what my measure is because I've done measure drills until the end of time, right? Well, maybe not the end of time. I did it a lot. And I know exactly where my measure is. I know exactly where I am. I also know where my weaknesses are. For a long time, before I became bionic, I have new knees now. Oh yes, Illadore is bionic. This is bad for everyone. So I would not back up. I could not back up because my knees hurt too much because I had some really bad knees. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to back up. If I did back up, it was like a step, maybe. And so I learned I'm only going forward. So I made that a benefit rather than a downside, because I knew I was only going to go forward. I could not go back. This means that I had to learn to parry really quick and really fast. So I learned how I drilled that. I drilled parrying a lot. I drilled being okay with being aggressive. I knew, like, paying attention to my opponent, which we'll get into next. This means a lot of drills. It also means your form needs to be good. It means that you should enter a lot of tournament, because this is practice. Every tourney that you're in is practice. It's practice for being in a tournament. It's also, you want to practice every aspect of the game. And then the last one is imagery, which is mental practice. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in the managing stress part. Yeah, I already talked about managing your weaknesses. Here's one of my favorite quotes, which is from the Red Queen theory, which is life is change. You have to accept that you are never going to be perfect, and people are always going to get better than you. It's like evolution, which is where the Red Queen theory is from. Is here you can see it takes all the running you can do just to keep in the same place. So in the Red Queen in like Alice in Wonderland, there's a scene where the Red Queen is running, and she's not moving anywhere. And that's because you have to keep running to stay in the same place. That's like evolution in the real world. You see rabbits, wolves, etc., like anything involving biology, they are constantly competing with each other. And if one of them gets better, that means the other one loses it. So it's always, you're having to run as fast as you can just to stay in the same place. Same for fencing, same for fighting of any kind. The second you're like, I'm good, someone's gonna come to you. It's gonna be epic. So always have to be improving. You always cannot just rest on your laurels. So know your opponent. You have to watch your fighters. I have tells. I have expectations. I put people in categories. And I also watch them. Particularly if I know I'm going to be watching someone else in a fight, I'm going to know this is what they're going to do. I also analyze fights while, like, I'm maybe just right after I'm fighting them. I don't keep like a catalog. Some people are able to keep a catalog of all their fights going. I can't do that, but I can do it right in that moment of like, this is why I lost. For example, the guy that I was fighting in a tournament at Penzic, he was a lefty, and twice he baited me into coming in, and then he tagged me right here, twice in a row. And then I'm down, and then fighting left-handed, which is not my dominant hand, and then he just killed me because he kept both of his blades. Which, good on him, excellent. So we're meeting in the finals, semifinals actually, and I knew he was gonna go for this again, because I had given it to him twice. Analyzed my opponent. He's a lefty, he likes this spot. What did I do? Faked it, rolled my shoulder back, he went for it, and I popped him. So again, this is what I'm talking about is know your opponent. Watch fights, record them. Play this game called Don't Go Yet, which is where you're watching people and watching them fight, and then say to yourself, either very quietly or in your head, don't go yet, right before they go. And see whether or not you can tell when they're about ready to go, because everyone has tells. We have major muscle groups, and you can't hide those when you're about ready to go forward. Now, where you're going when you're going forward, that's called baiting and feinting and stuff like that. But if you're gonna move, right, this is denial and deception we're talking about here. In World War II, the Germans knew that the English and the Americans were coming. They just didn't know where, right? So what I'm telling you is I want you to be able, they knew D-Day was coming, right? You can't disguise that. You can't disguise your major muscle movements. They're gonna happen. Just where exactly it's gonna go is different. So what I'm asking you to do is to know your opponent, learn their tells about when they're ready to go. So here we come to the big part of what we're gonna discuss. So you know your strengths and you know your weaknesses, and you know their strengths and their weaknesses. The only thing left is imposing your will upon them. And so I'm going to talk to you about how to get that will and how to get to that point of like the perfect state of where you are. So finding your center, or the arousal state, or anxiety, or managing stress. This is all the same kind of emotional, like, being. Like, and I'm gonna be honest with you. When I go out onto the field, I want to kill you before you kill me. That's just how it is. And so that is my mental state. I get into that part where I'm like, okay, I'm ready. I'm not too high. I am not too low. I am just in the perfect spot. So, and that is a good point for me to be at. Like, I'm ready. I'm not too jacked up, so I'm not like wired like a crazy person. And I'm not like, oh, I don't feel like, hey, I need a few fights to get in before I'm ready to get up. So one of the techniques, there's a couple techniques on, I'm gonna talk about too low, because that is that's a quick, easy way of how to bring you up to, if you're like, oh, that's a fight, I'm ready, I'm gonna put some gear on, hello, I'm gonna put some gear on, I'm gonna go out, and so how do you get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm ready to fight now, right? So one of them is called imagery. So in sports psychology, they talk about this a good bit. It's like how to get yourself prepared. There's also some studies that talk about muscle memory too, which is where if you think about doing a movement, right? If you keep thinking about doing that movement over and over again, it's almost like building up the same muscle memory that you would if you're actually doing the thing, right? Your brain, you trick your brain into thinking that you're moving your hand the way you want it to move because you're thinking about it. And your brain's pathways think of it the same way. Now I know this sounds like crazy magic, but there are sports psychologists that have studied this, not me, who said that this works. So if it works for you, give it a try. But my suggestion, and the SCA example I have for this is, I know of a Duke, who was not a Duke at the time, who was in Crown Tournament, and he went, and there was a lull. And so he went off to the side and imagined what he wanted to do. Like, he was going to do this, and he was going to do that. He was going to do this, and he was going to do that. He was going to hit the guy in the head. So that's the image that he was thinking about. The other guy, laughing, having a good time and everything. He was thinking about the fight that he wanted to have and the movements he wanted to have, and he became Duke. The other guy didn't. So we have some like actual experience of this. Imagery does help you. There are psychology studies that show that doing imagery of what you want to do will help you get to the arousal state that you need to be. The other one is I like having a mantra, and this works. I have two mantras. The first one is how to get you up, and that one is I walk out onto the field. And this I might have to edit. I walk out onto the field, and the mantra that is in my head is, I'm going to kill you, motherfucker. That's the way I think it too. Like, you're trying to kill me, I'm going to try to kill you, and that is what is going on in my head. So when people are like, you have the Illadore face on, that is what I'm thinking. I am thinking, I'm going to kill you. So, and that, just to give me in that right mental mindset, that is my mantra. Body language is another one. This one's a little, there's some things that say that this works, some that don't. There's the idea of power poses, right? That you will stand there and you stand in the right position, like the Supergirl pose, right? I'm gonna get up and do that, right? Or whatever works for you. But sometimes you can just be like, so for me, getting the position is this. My feet are right, foot down, I'm ready. If I get into this position, feet are right, body's right, mind is right. So that's one thing I do, is I just continue to do that. But there is like the Supergirl pose, like this. There's something about putting yourself in the body, in the position that you want to be, that you think is powerful, that helps you also, like your body feels powerful, your mind will feel powerful. And the last one, I need a volunteer who's okay with me doing things to their body. You, Marcus, how do you feel about helping me today?
Sure.
All right. Marcus, with consent and permission, may I take my hands and push you, and then will you then do the same to me?
Sure.
We're not going to like throw each other, but we are going to be physical with each other. Ready? All right. All right, come do it to me. All right, we're going to do it again. Come do it to me right here. All right, one more time.
All right.
Ready? me. How do you feel?
Amped up.
All right, there you go. That's one way to help, like, no, like, right? Like, feel like this is goofy, but like, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. He's been hitting me with permission and consent and whatnot. We're ready to go. You see this happen all the time in football. Guys hitting each other, right? Like on pads, ready to go, shoving. There's lots of shoving. There's lots of like back and forth. Right. They do that because it helps get their adrenaline up to where they need it to be. We're here. They're hitting each other. It's where it needs to be. So that is what you do when you feel like your adrenaline. Now my adrenaline's up. Thanks. That's what you need to do when your adrenaline is too low, right? But I will be honest with you, the majority of people who take my class don't have that problem. We have the other problem, which is where our anxiety or fears get the best of us. And I want to be completely honest with you. I have those moments too. So let me get my thing back up. Come on. Oh, I'm getting into the too high, right? So too high, too much anxiety, too much arousal, too much stress. So the number one mind killer is negative self-talk. So you need to cut that shit out, like right now. And I don't mean that like in fencing. I mean in the world, in your lives. Just cut that shit out right now. It's part of cognitive behavior therapy. I remember very clearly when I was talking to my therapist and I said something along the lines of like, I motivate myself by running, by saying, run, fat ass, run. He flipped on me. He was so angry with me at that point in time, like it was like lasers. He was like, you're never allowed to talk to yourself like that again. I'm like, why? And he was like, because your little brain, your little ego, the little part of your brain does not understand sarcasm. And when you're saying these things to yourself, you believe it. Your inside and brain believes the things that you're telling yourself. So when you tell yourself negative, bad things about yourself, you believe it. So cut that shit out right fucking now. This is how you do it. When you say to yourself, I'm a failure, I totally went and lost that fight because I suck. You say to your inner voice, you are not allowed to speak to me that way, as firmly as you can, but firm with love. And then you say, reframe it and say it in a better way. Because your inner voice actually is trying to tell you something, it just doesn't have the language for it, or you've always been doing negative things, you've had negative things in your life to reinforce it. We've all done it. We all have had bad stuff happen to us. And so what you do, or said people have said bad things to you, and the way you reframe that is you say, I missed my parry. Instead, what I'm going to do is work on parries. I need to work on my parries. See, that's the same thing. I lost. I acknowledge I lost, but I acknowledge how I can fix it. Don't say negative things about yourself anymore. You don't walk into a fight going, oh, I've lost. I mean, I can't tell you my happy, cheeriest moments, particularly at Gulf Wars at the Aethelmearc and Rapier tournament, which is my favorite tournament in the whole wide world, and I will hear so-and-so and Illadore, and the person goes, ugh, and I'm like, yes, I have won. I have won. I have done nothing. I have done nothing but stand here in my power pose looking like a bitch, and I have won. Don't give that to me. No, screw that. Never, never. Anyone can kill anyone else. Have you ever heard of like the Girl Scout theory, right? Like 10 Girl Scouts can kill anyone, right? 10 tiny little Girl Scouts can kill one person because they're overwhelmed. There's no one here who's invulnerable. There's no one who's Superman. I might say I'm Wonder Woman, but not really, right? Like I'm not actually Wonder Woman. There's no one here who's actually Superman. You can kill anyone on any day, except this. Don't give them nothing. That will roll into the make them pay thing later. The other one I have is just fight the fight that is in front of you. One of my biggest losses, I remember when I was very, very new to fencing, was they were like, all right, you have baronial champs, what are you gonna do? I'm like, I'm gonna take this against this person, I'm gonna take this against this person, I'm gonna take this against this person. I'm like, no, like just fight the fight that is in front of you. Don't worry about what the future is. You have someone who's trying to murder you right now. Just focus on that. Don't let yourself get like spun up about like, if I win 3 more, then I become a great champion. No, murder the person in front of you. The rest of it doesn't matter. I also want to, so one way to shut up the negative voice is by humming. A friend of mine taught me this one. He hums music. I usually have Disney songs like humming. You know, you can just hum whatever song you want. It will shut your brain up. If your brain will not, even if you're doing the negative self-talking, it won't shut up. Just hum, because you can't hum and really think at the same time, because your brain can't really hear it. Breathing exercises. So one of the ones I like is called circle breathing. So you're really amped up. You're just like your anxiety is bad, your stress is bad. You're just in through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Like, think of it as a circle. Like you're bringing air in and letting it out. The other one is called, I call it 4-4-4-4, which is in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. Let's all do that. And then you do that 4 times. And that does, like, notice you kind of already, just like taking that air in, it does kind of help settle you. It helps settle me from our little exercise from earlier. Other ones is having a mantra. Remember how I told you I had the mantra when I go out on the field and I'm like, I'm ready to murder you, right? So if my adrenaline is too high, if my anxiety, my stress is too high, my mantra is be water. Be water. But everyone's mantra is their own thing, right? You should find out what yours is. This is, Bruce Lee said it, but I didn't know that at the time when I first got it. But the idea is just like, I want to be water, I don't want to be the rock. Because the rock's what's, gets run down by the water. So I want to have flow. I want to be easy when I don't want to be tensed up and fighting like a crazy person with Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, right? This is bad. I want to be flowy. So I will tell myself to be water. And that helps me know that my adrenaline is too high. I just want to be water. Yes?
May I jump back to breathing?
Yes.
So when we think breathing and fighting, we breathe with our upper respiratory.
No, with the diaphragm.
You want to breathe with the belly, because that presses on something that is happy.
All right. So the other one, this one is called tapping therapy, and you can Google it. It may or may not work in real life. Like, it might not actually be a real thing. It might just be a placebo, but it has worked for me when my anxiety was too high, and this was in real life. So what it is you tap by your eyebrow, right here at your eyebrow 4 times, by the side 4 times, under the eye 4 times, under the nose, the chin 4 times, the collarbone, and then you do a karate chop here to the side of your body 4 times. And just do that a couple times. It might just be a good way to help focus your, take your mind off of what is causing you anxiety. When I was having to deal with grief, this really helped me release some of that anxiety that I was having. Posture again will help that with body language. Again, if you're way up here like this, if you can feel tension, literally what I want you to do, this is what I teach people when I'm fighting them. So what happens when I fight them, it's usually someone who is a junior rank than me, let's just put it that way, and I can see that they're fighting like this, right, with little Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, because they're all stressed out that they're fighting Illadore, which don't, by the way. I could be murder, right? Just murder me. So what I do is I go to them and I'm like, you're fighting you're tense because your shoulders are up here. When you fight here, do you think you're going to be good at fighting? They're like, no. So this is how you release some of that. Don't care. You're going to look like a crazy person. Who cares? Just relax your body. Just throw your arms around, wiggle, do the little dance, whatever you need to do. Just roll your shoulders back and just release some of that tension. And you will find when you do that, the stress kind of comes out of your shoulder. You start moving your body to hit some of that tension. So just do that. It's a quick way to just keep you from fighting like this. just roll your body, look like a crazy person. Who cares? You're gonna go kill them anyways in a minute. So if they're laughing at you, you're gonna have the last laugh. Just relax, right? And then I'm ready to move. Let's see. Imagery again. So, the last one I had on this was I was causing myself some of my own stress. I was playing softball, and I was super. I got into some. I was cleanup. Okay, I know it's gonna shock you. A 5'11" woman in softball was cleanup, right? So, but I was like whiffing them, right? And then they would just go by. I don't know what was happening. So what I did was, and I just started dreading going up to bat. And since I was cleanup and an outfielder, I really needed to get my stuff together because that was the only good reason why they kept me on the team was because I could hit the ball really far when I connected. So what we did was my coaches had me go out by myself, had a couple, not by myself, I had my parents there actually, and we sat up and I just imagined the ball coming in. And then I imagined what would my body look like for a perfect swing. Because I know what a perfect swing looks like. So I imagined what a perfect swing would look like. I imagined it again. And then I figured out, oh, by the way, I'm cocking my thing down here rather than having it up, right? So imagery helped me figure out my position was bad. And then I just imagined myself doing it. And then I did it a few times, did my body postures, did my movements correctly. I drilled. And then we went out and I hit a home run. So this is just sort of like, for me, an example. Again, also sports psychology tells you this helps. All right, we're coming towards, this is actually, what I like to do after this is, I'm gonna tell you my last thing about the never give up, never surrender. Quick sum up. I have the build up, but I also like to have people ask me questions about like, hey, I have this thing, how can you help me? So the last part is called never give up, never surrender. Don't go out there with your, like some of the stuff I've already taught you. Don't go out there and let me win. Don't. Give no respect. No respect. There's a certain person sitting in this room who taught me this. You respect no one. We don't care if it's Duke, Don, Jesus Christ himself. No respect. Nothing. Don't respect me. Go and murder me. Go and murder every single other mod that you know. Every other knight, every other duke, all of them can be killed. Go and murder them all. There's no respect whatsoever. Give them none. So one of the things I like to, I'm doing a yoga program. In that program, they said, whether you say you can or you say you can't, you are right. So if you say you can or you say you can't, you are right. So if you say you can't do it, can't. If you say you can't do it, you can. Make them pay for every single inch. Make them pay. So I get lagged all the time. Guess what? I made that a benefit rather than a loss, because I am fantastic fighting on my butt. I am fantastic at it. I give them nothing. I remember watching, it was a Queen's Rapier Championship, it was a bazillion years ago, and White Scarf I knew went and took the legs. It was best 2 out of 3. And he took the legs off of Cadet. And he looks at the cadet and he goes, it's best 2 out of 3. Do you wanna get off your legs and call this one? And the guy was like, yeah. So he gave it to him. He gave it to him. I'm like, no, you make them fucking pay for every single inch. Not give them no respect, give them no inches, give them nothing. Give them nothing. Nothing. Make them pay for every single inch. Because they're coming for you. I'm coming for you. Give me nothing. What's the last one? The last one is, here's the last one. And this one I want to hit more than anything is, there is not a single person on this planet whose time is more important than yours. No one. I don't care who they are. I don't care how much money they have. I don't care how long they've been in the SCA. There is not a single human being on this planet whose time is more important than yours. My time is the most valuable thing that I have. And I'm not giving it to you if you don't deserve it. And I'm not gonna, so anyone who is like, let these people play, they're higher ranked than you, they're a duke, they're a mod, whatever, who cares? We're all still human beings. No one's time on this planet is more important than yours. And so you own it. It's your time. Spend it wisely. So, to sum up, told you what I was going to tell you. Told you. Now I'm going to tell you what I've told you. You know you can win. Know you can win. Be honest with your self-assessment, both good and bad. You need to find your center and learn how to keep it. Enter a lot of tournaments. It's training for tournaments. Every tournament that you enter is training for another tournament. Train. If you can't go and pick up a sword that day, think about picking up a sword. Think about read something, watch a YouTube video, do your imagery exercises, but train every single day. Never give up, never surrender, right? Just talked about that. And then the last one is my favorite commercial. Just do it. Don't worry about anything else. Just go and do it. Just do it. For the women out there, my favorite commercial that they've taken it off the air was when Nike came out and they talked about how if you were in sports and playing as a woman and learn as a kid, if you learned how to play sports or even older, you were much less likely to be abused, to suffer physical violence. There's a lot of things that just going out there and doing it teaches you that you can do on the field. You can take that off the field as well. So, all right, that is the entirety of my talk. I have a bunch of citations as a part of this that I will totally email you. I've posted it on Facebook a couple of times, and I'll totally send the rest of you. But I also would love to hear any question you have. Like, I have a thing, I have a person, I can't do this one thing, and I will help you work on that. Does anyone have any questions? You have a question? Hit me. Make him tell you. You can tell me. I don't bite.
You know, there's a problem solving and all that.
Yep. Gotta get rid of the ants. Automatic negative thoughts. Step one.
So, I highly recommend looking up cognitive behavior therapy. I think it might be CRT or CPT. It used to be CBT. The professionals have changed it for some reason. And look to see what the techniques that they talk about using. The one that I gave you is the one that really works for me. Telling myself that I'm not allowed to talk to myself that way really works for me. But there are others. There's one like put a rubber band around your wrist, and then every single time you say a bad thing, you snap it. It's a negative reinforcement. Oh, didn't do that, but you got to do that. So things like that might help. But I'm not a psychologist. I've just read some stuff and had therapy. So for that one, go and take a look to see what will help you with the negative self-talk.
So what are the tools? Sorry.
One of the tools is taking a rubber band and putting it on your wrist, and when you say something bad about yourself, like, I looked dumb today, snap it. And that is negative reinforcement.
Yeah, I have another one that's
Okay.
Put it on trial.
Put it on what?
Put it on trial.
Ooh, tell us about that.
Put it on trial. Like, what's the proof that it's true?
Yes, what is the proof that it is true? I like that.
Right? What are the parts of the story you're not including?
Right.
Can you prove it, right? If you were like Columbo this and you got a judge in front of you, what's the actual evidence? Not just the stuff that you want to see or you're thinking in that moment. Like really sort of try to grill it.
So for example, let's say I've gone out and I've fought a fight and I've lost. I would say to myself, as I walk out, I suck. When putting that on trial would be something like, actually, this person has 10 more years experience than I do. Actually, I don't know if well actually is the right one, because then there's the well actually behavior, right? So you are incorrect because of these reasons. Like that would be the putting it on trial.
Put it out. And also like add things like, well, what are all the times you didn't suck? Right? Because a lot of the times when we're having that thought, we're not thinking about the wins that we have had.
Right, exactly. Yes.
Along those lines, one of the things I've been working on is separating the difference between success and victory.
Okay.
You can be successful and lose the fight. I did things, I failed here, I lost the fight, but I succeeded in all these places. I did good.
One of the things that one of the dukes when I was learning heavy fighting talked to me about was like when you have to first start the fight, you're doing 10 things wrong, right? So you fix the first 4 things, and then you come up the 5th thing. Well, the duke, who's been fighting for a bazillion years, right, has seen that you have, oh, you're no longer doing this terrible thing, but now you've gotten to 5, right? So he's still going to beat you, right? But he's beating you he has to beat you in a different way.
Right.
And that is a success, for sure. Yes?
Separating the work from the victory. Like, you're working on this one thing, you've been drilling
Yes.
this one thing, you've been drilling
Right.
this one thing. So you may have died every single every single pass in that bout.
Right.
But you were able to drill that.
Exactly. Exactly. Taking that and doing this reaffirming, like this, I was able to parry. I parried, I've never been able to parry him, but I parried this one, but then he got me in a different way.
Yeah, I got control of the sword. He killed me, but I got control of the sword.
Exactly.
And I figured out what that meant.
Right. Any other commentary, questions? Yes.
So today I was walking out onto the field, and there was somebody who I fought, and I said to I was like, oh man, they're gonna beat my ass, and I immediately said, don't let them run space in your head.
Yes.
And everything
Free
turned
rent.
out better than
It
expected.
does. Do not let me have free rent in your head. I have free rent in some people's head. Oh, that's so good. So chewy and good. Like I don't have to do nothing. I just go out there and like that's happy. Like why do you let me do that? I am almost 50. I have bad knees to the point where I had to have them rebuilt. I am technically obese. Why are you scared of me? There's no reason to be scared of me. There's none. Just beat me. Just beat me. Yes.
Building off that whole make them pay for everything.
Yes.
My second fight today.
Yes.
I went out there and I fought a guy in all black with this really long rapier. And so he stands there and he lights me 4 times.
Okay.
And throughout the whole thing.
Okay.
And so I was on the ground so many times and he beat me every single time. He was just much better than me. I'm like, you're not taking my legs down.
Yeah, that's
So
a
I
victory.
adjusted my legs forward. He got my head, but he did not ground me again.
Right. This
Yeah.
teaches you, right, that you need to figure out your body posture and why he's be able to exploit that. Exactly. Turn this into a positive. Turn it into no negative self-talk. Any other comments? Commentary? Or yes. All right.
I kind of have 2 questions, which is what I'm generally doing. I run a couple other people who are
Right.
even though it's past 8 months.
With his extremes at one point.
When I'm seeing they are consistently beating me, and I think they're newer than me or what have you, I really only managing very much by talking to them and asking them, like taking apart what they're doing better
Right.
and why, and if they have a marketing background, they do judo, so they've been
Right.
in strategic things now.
Right.
That helps me not go, I'm never going to progress here.
Right. So part of negative self-talk includes measuring yourself against someone else, right? And how their progress is. Everyone's progress is different. And no one's progress is like this. Nothing is linear in this. Like it's gonna be like
Plateaus suck.
yeah, they do, right? They suck so bad. You have 8 months is really, really soon. One of the things one of my teachers taught me was not to measure myself. First of all, never measure yourself against someone else because you don't know what they're doing, and your life might be totally different than theirs. Like when I first started, I had like kind of like rock star going like this, but I had no kid, no husband, no cat, nothing. I was able to go to like 3 to 4 practices, high level practices a week. And this meant putting a lot of miles on my car, but I had a job that allowed me to do that. I had no other responsibilities other than me, right? So I just did it. I just hit everything. And if you're gonna measure that against someone who's like, I can get to a practice every 2 weeks if I'm lucky, and I have to deal with childcare, or I have a job that I work nights, that's impossible, right? You have to measure yourself against you. but you can't do it every time you go out. You can't fight. You can't measure yourself every fight against every fight. Nor should you be doing it week to week, maybe month to month, particularly when you're new. But really, I think your best bet is to do it year by year. What one of my teachers taught me was pick an event every year and then take a look, see how you did the previous year at that event. For me, that's Pennsic. At the end of Pennsic, I take a look, how did I do over the past year? Well, last year I was like, I did not do as good as I did last year. Oh, but I had a knee replacement in April. Perhaps that might have affected my fencing. What do you think? Tiny bit, right? So that's just like, and this year I've been doing better than I did last year. That could be because I should not really say I'm amazing, right? I should be like, I got over my knee replacement surgery. That's why I'm doing better. You need to measure yourself against you. You've only been doing it for 8 months. So every couple of months you should take a look and see like, where are you at? What do you want to learn next? Like that should be how you should be to looking at yourself. And also, if your friends, the people that you're working with, if you're friends with them, they should be helping you with, hey, this is what I learned, and this is how I beat you. I remember very clearly, a person who I thought I was good friends with told me, yes, she was beating me, and I'm like, how are you doing that? She's like, I don't want to tell you. I mean, like, that was like a dagger to my heart right there, and I was like, oh, I don't like you anymore. Really. It was like that. Because this is a game we're all playing together. This is not actually 1559 in England. We're not like, I'm not competing with you with your school versus mine. This is also very collaborative and working together.
Rising tide floats all boats.
Right. Anything else? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I will happily send you my notes if you want.